God said, pack your bags, it's time to go. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when you feel ready, now. And some of you felt that in your spirit the moment those words were spoken. Your heart started beating a little faster. Your thoughts began racing because deep down you know this message is not random. It is not a coincidence. It is not just motivation. It is confirmation. It is confirmation. God has been whispering to you in the quiet hours of the night. God has been stirring your soul when everything around you seemed comfortable. But something inside you felt unsettled. That restlessness you've been feeling is not confusion. It is not anxiety. It is a divine signal. God is saying, pack your bags. It's time to go. Some of you have been praying for change, but you never expected movement. You asked God for elevation, but you wanted it to happen without relocation. You asked for growth, but you hoped it wouldn't require stretching. You asked for new doors, but you were not prepared to leave old rooms. And now God is responding, not with comfort, but with a command. Pack your bags. It's time to go. There is a season that expires. There is a chapter that must close. There is a place that once protected you, but can no longer contain you. And if you stay where God has already lifted His grace, you will begin to feel suffocated in a space that once felt safe. That job that once excited you now drains you. That environment that once nurtured you now limits you. That mindset that once sustained you now restricts you. God is not punishing you. God is promoting you. But promotion always requires movement. Do you think the eagle grows stronger by staying in the nest forever? No. There comes a moment when even comfort becomes a cage. God never designed you to remain in one level permanently. You are called to expand. You are called to advance. You are called to step into territories that intimidate you, but you cannot step forward while clinging to what is behind you. That is why God is not negotiating with you. God is commanding you. Pack your bags. It's time to go. Some of you are waiting for perfect clarity. You want every detail explained. You want the full blueprint before you take the first step. But faith does not operate on full visibility. Faith operates on obedience. When God says move, you move. When God says leave, you leave. When God says release, you release. You do not need to understand everything to obey something. The instruction is simple: pack your bags. You have stayed long enough in places that have already served their purpose, and hear this clearly. Just because something was good does not mean it is permanent. Just because something was blessed does not mean it is eternal. Seasons change. Assignments shift. Directions adjust. And if you are spiritually sensitive, you can feel it. The grace that once flowed easily now feels strained. The excitement that once came naturally now feels forced. That is not failure. That is transition. God is shifting you from survival to purpose, from maintenance to manifestation, from limitation to expansion. But you cannot carry everything with you. When God says pack your bags, it does not mean pack your fears. It does not mean pack your bitterness. It does not mean pack your doubts. It means pack your faith, pack your courage, pack your obedience. Leave behind the insecurity. Leave behind the resentment. Leave behind the voices that told you that you are not enough. You are not moving because you are rejected. You are moving because you are chosen. There is a difference. Rejection pushes you away in shame. Calling pulls you forward in purpose. And some of you misinterpreted the discomfort as rejection when it was actually direction. God was not closing doors to hurt you. God was redirecting your path to position you. There are opportunities waiting that you cannot see yet. There are connections waiting that you have not met yet. There are environments prepared that you have not entered yet, but they are not located where you are currently standing. And if you refuse to move, you will miss what God has already prepared ahead of you. Let me speak to the one who is afraid. You are afraid of failing in a new place. You are afraid of starting over. You are afraid of looking foolish. But listen carefully. Staying where God has told you to leave is the real failure. Remaining in disobedience is the true risk. When God says go, He does not send you empty-handed. He goes before you. He prepares the ground. He aligns the circumstances. He strengthens your spirit. The command to move always carries the provision to succeed. You have outgrown your current level, and growth is uncomfortable. Growth stretches you. Growth challenges you. Growth demands that you let go of the familiar, but you cannot pray for enlargement and then resist expansion. You cannot ask God for new territory while clinging to old boundaries. There is a next dimension for your life. There is a deeper level of purpose. There is a wider space of influence, but it requires departure. Some relationships are seasonal. Some locations are temporary. Some assignments are stepping stones. And if you mistake a stepping stone for a destination, you will build a house on something that was meant to be crossed. God is not asking for your opinion. God is not asking for your comfort. God is asking for your trust. Trust that the same God who sustained you in the last season will sustain you in the next one. Trust that the same God who opened previous doors can open greater ones. Trust that the same God who protected you before can protect you again. Fear whispers, what if it doesn't work? Faith declares, God is already there. You cannot carry yesterday's identity into tomorrow's calling. You cannot hold on to old labels while stepping into new levels. Pack your bags, but leave behind the version of you that doubted your worth. Leave behind the version of you that settled for less. Leave behind the version of you that tolerated mediocrity. You are not going backward. You are ascending. God is calling you higher. Higher in discipline. Higher in faith. Higher in purpose. Higher in courage. And elevation requires separation. The air is thinner at higher altitudes. Not everyone can breathe where you are going. Not everyone can understand your decisions. Not everyone will support your departure. But obedience is not a popularity contest. It is a covenant of trust between you and God. There will be moments when you feel alone in transition. But solitude is not abandonment. Sometimes God removes noise so you can hear Him clearly. Sometimes God removes distractions so you can focus fully. Sometimes God removes comfort so you can depend entirely on Him. Pack your bags. It's time to go from average thinking to visionary thinking. It's time to go from hesitation to boldness. It's time to go from excuses to execution. You have delayed long enough. You have overanalyzed long enough. You have waited for signs long enough. This is your sign. Do not confuse preparation with procrastination. Yes, wisdom prepares, but fear delays. And some of you have been calling fear wisdom. You say you're waiting for the right time, but the right time is when God speaks. you say you need more confirmation. But how many times must the door close before you realize the direction has changed? The future you desire is not built by comfort. It is built by courage. It is built by obedience. It is built by stepping into uncertainty with unwavering faith. God did not design you to live a small life. God did not create you to repeat cycles endlessly. God designed you for impact, for influence, for significance. And significance is never discovered by standing still when you are called to move. There is a new environment that will challenge you to grow. There is a new responsibility that will stretch your capacity. There is a new assignment that will demand your full attention. But with it comes new strength, new insight, new favor. The same God who calls you forward equips you internally. You are not losing security. You are gaining destiny. You are not losing comfort. You are gaining capacity. You are not losing familiarity. You are gaining fulfillment. And understand this, movement is not merely physical. When God says, pack your bags, He is not only speaking about geography. He is speaking about mentality. He is speaking about habits. He is speaking about the internal conversations you have been interning for years. Some of you must relocate in your thinking before you ever relocate in your surroundings. You cannot step into a greater reality while holding on to a limited mindset. God is not just shifting your address. God is shifting your awareness. There are thoughts you have tolerated that are too small for where you are going. Thoughts that say, this is as far as I can go. Thoughts that whisper, this is all I deserve. Thoughts that convince you to stay silent when you should speak, to shrink when you should stand tall. Pack your bags and leave that mentality behind. God did not design you to live confined by the opinions of people who cannot see what He placed inside you. Some of you have been asking God for clarity, but what you truly need is courage. Clarity often comes after obedience, not before it. The path becomes visible as you walk it. The next step appears when you take the first one. God does not illuminate the entire road. He gives you enough light for the next move. And that is intentional because God is developing trust within you. If you could see everything in advance, you would rely on sight. But when you cannot see it all, you must rely on God. You are not being pushed out. You are being called up. There is a difference. When something ends abruptly, when people misunderstand you, when doors shut without explanation, do not assume it is loss. Sometimes it is divine acceleration. Sometimes God closes what you would never have had the strength to leave on your own. Sometimes God disrupts your comfort because your comfort was quietly destroying your potential. You were not created to remain hidden in safe places forever. There is an assignment attached to your life that requires boldness. There are people who will be strengthened by your obedience. There are doors that will open for others because you chose to step through yours. Your movement is not only about you. Your obedience carries influence beyond your imagination. When God says, pack your bags, He is announcing that the training season is ending and the execution season is beginning. You have learned enough. You have prepared enough. You have gathered enough wisdom. Now it is time to apply it. Knowledge without movement becomes stagnation. Revelation without action becomes frustration. You cannot keep absorbing inspiration without stepping into implementation. The reason you feel tension inside is because you are outgrowing your current boundaries. Growth creates pressure. Expansion stretches capacity. When a seed begins to grow, it must break through the soil. That breaking is not destruction, it is emergence. And some of you are mistaking the breaking for failure, when in reality you are breaking into something greater. Stop mourning what God has already released. Stop trying to revive what He has already closed. If it was meant to continue, it would have. If it was meant to stay, it would still be strong. When grace lifts, it is a signal. When peace disappears, it is a warning. When joy fades, it is an indicator. God communicates not only through words, but through shifts in your spirit. Do not let nostalgia trap you. Do not let nostalgia trap you. Do not let nostalgia trap you. The past may hold beautiful memories, but it does not hold your future. You cannot build tomorrow by constantly revisiting yesterday. God is not found in regret. God is found in forward motion. There is a new dimension of trust being required of you, and trust always demands surrender. You cannot control where God is leading you. You can only control your willingness to follow, and following requires humility. It requires letting go of pride. It requires admitting that your understanding is limited while God's wisdom is infinite. You may not see the full picture, but God does. You may not know how it will unfold, but God has already arranged the details. There will be unfamiliar faces where you are going. There will be new challenges that test your strength. There will be moments when you question your decision. But remember this, doubt does not mean you heard wrong. It means you are human. And even in moments of uncertainty, God remains constant. Your emotions may fluctuate, but God's direction does not. You cannot bring everyone with you. This is one of the hardest truths to accept. Not everyone is assigned to your next chapter. Some people were meant for the introduction, not the entire story. And holding on to them out of guilt or fear will slow your progress. When God says go, you must trust that He will take care of what you leave behind. There is a level of maturity waiting for you that cannot be developed where you currently stand. Responsibility will increase. Expectations will rise. Influence will expand. And with expansion comes accountability. God is not elevating you for applause. He is elevating you for impact. And impact requires discipline. Pack your bags and leave behind procrastination. Leave behind inconsistency. Leave behind the habit of starting but not finishing. Where you are going, excellence will not be optional. Commitment will not be negotiable. You will be required to show up fully, not partially. You will be required to lead, not merely follow. The comfort zone feels safe, but it silently weakens you. Muscles grow through resistance. Character grows through challenge. Faith grows through uncertainty. If everything around you remains predictable, you will never discover the depth of strength God placed within you. There are abilities inside you that have not yet been activated because your environment has not demanded them. God is creating demand for your hidden strength. He is positioning you in places that will require courage you did not know you possessed. He is allowing situations that will stretch your patience, refine your integrity, sharpen your focus. This is not random. This is refinement. Do not interpret refinement as rejection. When gold is purified, it passes through fire. The fire does not destroy it. It removes what weakens it. And some of you are in a refining season right now. The heat feels intense. The pressure feels overwhelming. But what is being removed from you is not your value. It is your limitation. Pack your bags and leave behind the fear of being misunderstood. When you step into new territory, not everyone will comprehend your decision. Some will question you. Some will doubt you. Some will distance themselves. But obedience is not validated by public approval. It is validated by inner peace. When God confirms your direction, that confirmation outweighs every external opinion. There is a higher standard calling you, a higher way of thinking, a higher level of discipline, a higher dimension of faith. And higher always requires leaving something lower behind. You cannot climb while clinging. You cannot ascend while anchored to comfort. The timing may feel inconvenient. The transition may feel sudden. But God's timing is never accidental. There are moments when delay would cause decay. If you stay too long in a completed season, stagnation begins. What once strengthened you will begin to drain you. What once inspired you will begin to frustrate you. That frustration is not punishment. It is prompting. Some of you have sensed it for months. That inner voice saying, there is more. More growth, more responsibility, more territory. But more requires movement. You cannot experience more by repeating the same patterns. You cannot step into increase by remaining in maintenance mode. God is calling you to risk obedience, and obedience always feels risky to the mind, but secure to the spirit. When you align with God's direction, even uncertainty becomes purposeful. Even challenges become meaningful. Even obstacles become stepping stones. Your next season will demand a stronger version of you, a more focused version, a more disciplined version, a more surrendered version. And surrender is not weakness, it is alignment. When you surrender your plans to God, you are not losing control. You are gaining direction. Pack your bags because complacency has expired. Pack your bags because hesitation has overstayed its welcome. Pack your bags because the version of you that was comfortable settling is no longer acceptable. There is a calling on your life that requires core. Age. There is a destiny that demands boldness. You are not designed to drift. You are designed to decide. You were not created to wander aimlessly. You were created to walk intentionally. And when God speaks, hesitation is not humility. Hesitation is doubt disguised as caution. The road ahead will stretch you in ways you cannot predict, but stretching increases capacity. You are about to handle responsibilities you once prayed for. You are about to step into rooms you once imagined. You are about to carry influence you once thought was impossible. But none of it will happen if you refuse to move. Do not underestimate what is waiting on the other side of your obedience. Doors you have not seen, opportunities you have not imagined, favor you have not yet experienced, but they are activated by movement. God is not asking you to have it all figured out. God is asking you to trust Him enough to start. The journey may be long. The road may be unfamiliar. But every step taken in obedience carries unseen protection. You are not stepping into emptiness. You are stepping into preparation. Long before you felt the urge to move, God was arranging circumstances, aligning connections, preparing resources, positioning opportunities. Your movement is a response to a plan already in motion. And hear this with clarity that shakes your hesitation when God says it's time to go. It is because stagnation has become more dangerous than uncertainty. You are not being invited into comfort. You are being summoned into transformation. There is a weight on your spirit because greatness cannot breathe in small spaces forever. There is a holy dissatisfaction rising inside you because the life you are living no longer matches the capacity God has built within you. You have been trying to adjust to a place that is too small for your calling. You have been shrinking your vision to fit into our homes that were only meant to introduce you, not define you. And now God is disrupting your routine because routine has become your ceiling. Every time you try to settle, something inside you refused to be quiet. That was not restlessness without reason. That was divine prompting. God does not move you randomly. Every transition carries intention. Every shift carries strategy. Even when it feels sudden to you, it has never been sudden to God. Long before you sensed the change, the plan was already unfolding. Long before you felt the pressure, the next step was already prepared. You are not walking into something unplanned. You are walking into something prearranged. But you must understand that obedience is not comfortable. Obedience will ask you to release what feels secure. It will require you to leave behind applause that once validated you. It will demand that you trust God's voice more than your own reasoning. And that is where many hesitate, because logic says, stay where it is predictable. But faith says, move where God is leading. There is a difference between stability and stagnation. Stability strengthens you. Stagnation weakens you. Stability aligns you with purpose. Stagnation numbs your hunger. And some of you have confused stillness with peace. True peace does not silence your growth. True peace does not suffocate your potential. When God's peace rests on a decision, it strengthens you to move forward, not hide in familiarity. You cannot build the next chapter of your life with the same level of discipline that sustained the last one. The next place will require sharper focus. It will require deeper integrity. It will require greater consistency. God is not just moving you physically. He is upgrading your character, because the weight of the next season will crush the version of you that refuses to mature. That is why this transition feels serious. This is not a casual shift. This is not a temporary adjustment. This is a defining moment. The decisions you make now will echo into years ahead. The courage you demonstrate now will determine the territory you occupy later. Do not treat this lightly. When God speaks, history begins to shift. Some of you are holding on to environments that are no longer aligned with your values. You have tolerated compromise because it was convenient. You have remained silent when conviction told you to speak. But God is not calling you into elevation while you are living beneath your standard. Where you are going, integrity will not be optional. It will be foundational. Pack your bags and leave behind double-mindedness. Leave behind inconsistency in your devotion. Leave behind half-hearted commitment. God is calling for alignment. Alignment between your words and your actions. Alignment between your dreams and your discipline. Alignment between your prayers and your obedience. There is a level of focus required for what is ahead that cannot coexist with distraction. Some attachments must break. Some habits must end. Some patterns must be confronted. Some patterns must be confronted. You cannot carry chaos into a season that demands clarity. You cannot bring laziness into a season that demands leadership. You cannot carry bitterness into a season that requires wisdom. God is refining your spirit, because where you are going, influence will increase. And influence without humility becomes destruction. Influence without integrity becomes corruption. Influence without discipline becomes downfall. So before the elevation, there is purification. Before the expansion, there is examination. Do not resent the preparation. The preparation is protecting you. Every delay that forced you to grow, every challenge that strengthened your endurance, every disappointment that sharpened your discernment, it was not wasted. It was shaping you for a responsibility you could not have handled before. Some of you prayed for doors to open, but you did not realize that opening those doors would require you to leave the comfort of your current room. God is answering prayers you prayed years ago. But the answer looks like movement. It looks like risk. It looks like stepping into territory where you cannot rely on old formulas. The next season will not respond to old strategies. You must be willing to learn again, to adapt again, to trust again. Growth never stops. And if you refuse to evolve, you will remain qualified only for yesterday's opportunities. When God says, pack your bags, it is also a call to shed identity labels that no longer define you. You are not the mistakes you made. You are not the failures you experienced. You are not the limitations others placed on you. God defines you by purpose, not by past. You cannot enter your future dragging regret behind you. Regret is heavy. It slows you down. It distorts your confidence. Let it go. If God has forgiven you, why are you still carrying it? If God has restored you, why are you still rehearsing the wound? You cannot step into destiny chained to yesterday's shame. There will be moments when fear tries to convince you that staying is safer. But safety without purpose is a silent prison. A cage with soft walls is still a cage. You were not created for decorative living. You were created for decisive living. The next chapter will demand bold decisions. Decisions that not everyone will understand. Decisions that may even cost you comfort. But comfort has never built legacy. Courage builds legacy. Obedience builds legacy. Faith builds legacy. You are not moving because you are dissatisfied with life. You are moving because God is expanding your assignment. There are lives connected to your obedience. There are solutions attached to your courage. There are breakthroughs linked to your willingness to move. And let this settle deeply in your spirit. God never commands movement without purpose. Every step carries meaning. Even the steps that feel small. Even the steps that seem insignificant. Movement in obedience is never wasted. If you delay growth. If you resist, you prolong frustration. But when you surrender, you accelerate destiny. Surrender is not giving up. It is giving in to God's direction. It is trusting that the one who formed you knows where you flourish best.